Let's talk about those parasites. Everything you wanted to know through the lens of someone who has lived with them for years. I have my notes here, so if you hear the papers rustling in the background, that's what it is. I will talk from a spiritual as well as a physical point of view. If by the end of this video you have been enlightened, become more knowledgeable, feel inspired, then like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Like, for real. I don't know when I will post another video, so I want to make sure that this video gives you the kind of nourishment that lasts you a while. I'm going to be looking at this through a positive lens, instead of all the gory stories and all the gory stuff that we hear all the time. Before we start, let's kick this off with a prayer of protection and a call to wisdom. Most High God, Almighty Creator, to whom all things under the sun belong, we are thankful for this gathering here today, of those seeking knowledge, wisdom, community, relief. Place your warrior angels at every direction, north, east, west, south, with their flaming swords of protection at every portal, gate, hole, and entrance. Any entranceway, from peeping toms, eavesdroppers, monitoring eyes, remote viewers, and place a circle of protection around this gathering. As above, so below. We know that according to Luke chapter 10, verse 19, it reads, "Behold, I have given you authority to tread on serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall hurt you." You have been given authority and responsibility to manage, steward, and to bring divine order to creation. Guide my mind, my heart, and my tongue to deliver the message and deliver everyone in bondage. So mote it be, and so it is. Parasites are here to teach you the value of boundaries. Parasites take more than they give. As a young girl growing up, I knew nothing about my body, let alone about the existence of parasites. I grew up with cats. Sometimes dogs, but mainly cats. I loved all of my cats. They slept close to me. They were on a scale of okayness. They ranked for me at a 10. I went on living my life, open, carefree, taking risks, not because, like in hindsight, as they say, I was mind controlled, from parasites. I was just mind controlled by ignorance. I grew up with little to no boundaries and in a family that was just in the dark as I was about themselves and about the lives that we were living. And speaking of the darkness, parasites thrive in darkness. Makes me think of that song from back in the day, the freaks come out at night. However, keep in mind that there is power in darkness. It's the birthplace of creation. But yeah, think of all the parasites, all the parasitical situations in your life. People who pretend to have your best interests at heart, or misinformation, or dealing with fraud, or secret hidden agendas, manipulation, corruption, bad habits that seem to have you in a chokehold, like smoking, drugs, overeating, sloth, lust. And then there are those literal creatures that live off of you. Symbiotic life, I guess they call it. Within your body, on your body, all around you. You are truly the hostess with the mostest. They are not only in your gut, but can travel anywhere in your body. They can be large and visible, but they can also be microscopic and out of sight, invisible to the naked eye. And this part, this microscopicness, is what makes them also interdimensional. Cause like now, how are you gonna be like that small and still have such influence? Just to say that the human body is impacted by forces that it cannot see or perceive with the senses, with the five senses. Now, let me just say something up front. I've developed a personal relationship with them in the sense that I understand them. They want to live and thrive like everybody else. The only thing is that they can overpopulate. They must be kept under control. They are a hive mind. They are strategic. They are intelligent, mission-driven, and goal-oriented. Here's a wild and fun fact. Even parasites can have parasites. So, we are all in here just trying to fight off the predator. But only when you know that a predator even exists, that you are aware of a predator. And that's the thing about parasites, right? Because parasites, they not only live and thrive in the darkness, they don't even want you to know that they exist. They don't want you to know that their existence has manifested in your life, let alone in the world. Like when you know that they are starting to set up camp, or maybe they already did, and now they have a whole entire empire inside of your kingdom. It's time for the empire to strike back. This is when you realize that, like Kanye said, we are at war, especially with ourselves. Here's another lesson that we can learn from parasites. Compassion without boundaries feeds parasites. Because, sometimes you got to just throw up your Wakanda arms and be like, no, you cannot pass. You don't get a pass. And you have no access here. It took me a long time to realize that my body, especially my internal world, is the true kingdom. The true kingdom is truly within. And by the time I had figured that out, I was older, had terrible acne, fibroids, and overweight. I'd begun to purge my life of people who no longer belonged. I even discovered that my own family members didn't belong in my life anymore. I maintained very little contact with people. This parasite awareness just really makes you very particular just about every step and every decision that you make to the best of your ability. Now, while I realized that I have an internal kingdom that was under attack, that had been taken over, I also realized that I was under attack by an unseen kingdom all around me. Before I came into this awareness, I lived a fast life. Man, I was out there putting it down. You know what I'm saying? And time flew, man. If you really want to enjoy, your time off and your free time, man, watch a pot of water to boil. Do not have fun. Because the moment you start having fun, man, that time is just going to be gone, But I tell you one thing, that pandemic, son, that slowed me all the way down, right? And if it hadn't been for that, I don't know, I probably still would have been lost in the sauce, I don't know. I don't know, but that pandemic just changed my whole entire paradigm. Anyway, I ended up returning back home, back to my hometown, and I felt like I had to go back to my roots, start at the very beginning to figure out why my life, my body was so wrecked. And I was thinking parasites and researching about it, but I didn't really know where to begin. I mean, between the acne, the fibroids, the weight gain, I just needed to start, man. So I went to the drugstore. I bought various face creams, let me see. Yeah, so I tried a lot of the products that was on the shelf, in the drugstores for all the face creams, like CeraVe. I did the Panoxyl. One thing that did kind of mellow out my skin a bit was an acne banishing body spray. That one was kind of good. All right, but I digress a little bit. Hold on. Yeah, they have all these different kinds of acid kind of washes in the drugstores that you can use for your skin. So I used all of them, right? 10%, 5%, whatever the grade was. And, it was cute. It was nice. It was a start because before that before me walking into that store, I mean, I did try other things and I was living in a different location. So I don't know if their products was just, I don't know, I was trying. So now back in my hometown, I was like, okay, I'm back in my usual, surroundings, my usual environment, been away for a minute, but now I'm back. Let me go and see the kind of products, that my hometown is rocking with, right? So, yeah. So, like I said, CeraVe, Panoxyl, the various, body washes and things, looked on Amazon for, what was the most popular rated item and reading comments of, the results people were having. So, like, I tried a lot of the different, products in the store. And some of them helped. And it was good, because I felt like the parasites were like, oh, she's trying to do some stuff, to clear up her situation. Because, parasites can, they can see and hear what you're looking at and what you're hearing and what you're experiencing, because they tapped in like that. You know what I'm saying? So now, see, the thing about my acne is that not only is it bumpy, but, you'd swear I was like shaving every day because, the hairs were growing back into the skin. I don't know, like they couldn't find their way outside. And it became so intense that it was like it was like an underground railroad under my skin, son. It was like the hairs were just growing sideways and not coming through the skin. Yeah, so bumps and all these things, and so putting on makeup was really a challenge. Like I put on makeup and it would look like an even kind of a tone, but then there would still be these bumps and the rawness and scabby from me having picked on it. And yeah, all right. So anyway, back at the drugstore, right? So I started my journey. I bought all these products, and then I bought a product in the female section called Monistat. I looked at it. I was like, okay, let me get this bottle. Now I ain't had no problems downstairs, you know what I'm saying? But I was like, in this product is boric acid. I was like, boric acid. I haven't heard about this ingredient in a minute. And that's in a feminine wash? To remove odor and to keep a woman fresh down. Don't they use boric acid for roaches and for things, for like an insecticide? Yeah, they do actually. So I was like, somebody must know something. As a matter of fact, you can even do a DIY roach killer by using sugar, flour, and boric acid. So, if you are having I wouldn't, personally, I would not recommend as a female for any female to put anything inside because you just never know, right? As desperate as you may be, maybe in your situation, do not get any product, even if it is a feminine product. Do not get it and put it inside. All right. But anyhow, yeah. So, I used the Monistat as a complete body wash, and it was it was cool, but it didn't really clear my acne though. Felt a bit cleaner, but so it was Anyway, back to the parasites. I could feel them moving under my skin, in the acne, around the acne, tickling, creeping, crawling. Very light sensations, These ingrown hairs, these bumps, they were just doing the most, son. Anyway, I learned a few things. First, to make peace with it, to make peace with my situation, to make peace with myself. You know what I'm saying? Because I love me some me. I love me some me, son. I do. And because, just like me, parasites are ancient. I'm ancient. Parasites are ancients. We've all been here since a long time. Maybe they've been here longer. I don't really know, but all I know is that I'm ancient. So it's like we have to find a way to peacefully coexist, right? And they are in my private space. They've crossed the borders into my private space because I had no borders, and I've allowed them to set up camp and to build their empire because I created the conditions for them to be able to do so. So I can't blame them for that. That's all on me, right? But now that I am aware, I'm at peace with myself and the choices that I've made. You gotta take the lessons, even if those lessons come hard, take those lessons and just keep it moving. And that's why I'm also making this video, to share the lessons that I've learned. So, but I don't surrender. This is not a surrender. I'm not throwing up the white flag. But I'm not fighting, I'm just going gray rock, man. I'm going gray rock just like them. They be doing their little gray rock thing. They be like, we here, but you don't see us. You don't hear us. We're just hanging out in the back. You know what I'm saying? And because, essentially, I know that living systems, they need three things, right? They need to be open enough to receive nourishment. They have to be wise enough to recognize harmful patterns. And they have to be strong enough to maintain healthy boundaries. So let that sit for a minute. And let me say it for the people in the back. All living systems need three things. They have to be open enough to receive nourishment, wise enough to recognize harmful patterns, and strong enough to maintain healthy boundaries, which basically means to maintain a balance. So, with that, I want to say that, I want to speak out into the universe, to all my listeners and to anyone else, and to my parasites too, that I no longer consent and I no longer co-sign on agreements that were made before my consciousness came online. Contract is now null and void. My kingdom, my empire, will no longer and is no longer suitable for parasitic existence. With that being said, though, don't be out here playing with these parasites, though, son. Don't be playing with them, okay? They got ways and means, right? When they say you need to like detox and open up those drainage pathways to so that they can have like some escape and some exit routes, that's all true, man. Don't be trying to poke the bear with these parasites, son. Don't do it. You know what I mean? And like I did try ivermectin on a few occasions. Ingesting it But I didn't really recognize a result. I didn't feel anything changing and moving. So, but what I did do was, for the very first time, I applied some to the acne area. And boy, let me tell you, for the first time since this situation, I could feel the parasites on the run. I could literally feel a slight, subtle crawling around the acne area. You know, it was as if they were all chilling, watching a football game, and then a fire broke out, and everyone was scrapping and scraping and running for their lives. Nothing came out of my skin, though, but I could just feel like this feeling of just this moving going on in my skin, right? The acne stayed. And I didn't keep using it because I didn't fully understand things like the life cycle of parasites. Yeah. I did, however, catch a rash around my neck, like not like red bumps or anything like that, but just like itchy patches. Yeah, it was like patchy, itchy, around my neck. And little tiny warts came out around my neck. And yeah, that was like last year when this happened. And actually, this acne situation, it's been a progression. Like, I remember when I was in my early 20s, I was having little hairs growing out of my chin around my jawline, and I didn't pay it any mind, right? At some point, some months later, maybe a year later, I'd go to like a cosmetologist so that she could treat the area but everything was cool. I didn't have, any acne or anything like that. But, going through my wild and crazy life, hanging out with all kinds of people, not having any boundaries, inviting everything and everyone in every way, shape, and form, in the sense of the word, it just really got crazy out of control. Yeah, so, this acne was really stressing me, and I watched another video where they called it a skin-picking disease. I don't know why they don't just call it, overrun with parasites, but they described it as I had been experiencing it, which was, the hair's growing back in, and then you have like this kind of neurological sensation to want to put your hands to your face and start picking at it. And then you're picking, and yeah, I do pick, I pull the hairs out, I take the scabs away, and then I wash my face carefully and put some cream on it to kind of cool it down. And so, yeah, but like, I don't know why they don't just say overrun with parasites, right? I was picking at it every day. With a needle, a fine needle to get at the hair, very carefully to get at the hair, and a tweezer to pull it out. And I've been doing it for years. So yeah, you can just let your imagination run wild on that one. I did use fenbendazole. What's it called? They call it Fenben. I did use that once. And I was supposed to take like one capsule in the morning and one at night. And once I took 2 capsules because I'm just looking for something to just move the needle. I just want the relief. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I took 2 capsules, and my thighs broke out in these, when you get mosquito bites, you got these little red raised bumps, in the area where the mosquitoes were. Yeah, I had but they weren't red, but they were just these, I don't know, hives you call them, I guess, all around my thighs, man. And that not only itched, but itched the more that I scratched them. And then it was so satisfying to the point of near orgasm. Laugh if you will, but that's how it felt. And I don't know, like I was just like scratching my thighs all around, and it was the craziest thing ever. Craziest. I think I just must have drove the parasites crazy, and they were having another. Yo, man, I can only imagine what's going on in their world. Like, like what's she going to think of today? Parasites sitting around chilling, working out their little battle plans. Like, what's she going to figure out today? Yeah, man. But yeah, that feeling lasted for about, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes. Then it was gone. I don't want to take like a whole bunch of ivermectin or Fenben or something like that. I don't really know what I'm doing, or like, I need to have that feeling in my super spidey sense, in my sixth sense, that I'm actually really making progress. So I know that the situation is very dynamic. It's a war, with whatever this situation is, and I've seen it move. Like, if the bumps come and go, the hair comes and goes, the scabs come and go, the formation changes, there's movement, there's things happening. So I know that I'm dealing with something that's trying to be at odds with me and what I want, right? It's my life, man. It's what I want, right? So, now I know they say that you have to clean and detox and open up your pathways, but for me, my situation is like, I've been unconscious and ignorant for years, developed negative habit patterns, love to eat food too much, obviously. Whatever was driving my body, like before you came online, before you became conscious, before you became aware, did you ever ask yourself, well, who was actually driving your car, man? Right? And whoever was driving my body before I got woke, I'm trying to kick the driver. No, I've kicked the driver already out of the driver's seat. But the thing is that now I have a car, I have a vessel, I have a body. But how do you actually drive this thing, man? How do you actually drive it? It's like I'm sitting in a high-tech Tesla car, and I don't know where all the buttons are. I don't know how to operate the thing. Yeah, so, this is where I'm at, learning how to drive this car, my body. Now, you've heard, I know, we've all heard it, caloric deficit and move more, stretch, visualize, meditate, affirmations, da-da-da-da-da-da, bit, bam, boop. Yes, sure, right, of course, all of that. Correct, great. But if you are overrun with neurotoxins and chemical processes and intelligent forces that know how to tap into your nervous system, it is literally like being a marionette. It's literally like something else is driving you, is moving you, is pushing you. How does that saying go? I know what the right thing is to do, but I do these things that I don't want to do, but I'm forced to do it. Well, even Shaggy said, what did Shaggy say? Shaggy said it wasn't me. See, Shaggy knew what was up. He was doing some stuff that he wasn't supposed to be doing, but what he say? He said it wasn't me. And see, it wasn't me though. Reminds me of this other song, Baby, You Can Drive My Car. Go listen to the lyrics, man. Go listen to the lyrics. Like, who are they actually singing to? Who can drive my car? Now, I don't remember giving anybody permission to drive my car. I don't. So now we're talking about a few things, actually. We're talking about parasites, how the parasites have manifested themselves in my life. First by this acne, in other ways too, but acne is the first thing that's visible, and just how, the parasites, can affect the body in different ways and in different places. But there's also something called mites, dust mites in the carpets, mites, on your bed clothes and things. Now, I didn't know that they can also wreak havoc in your life, on your skin, if they have an opportunity to overpopulate. I was not aware that this could happen. And these mites, dust mites, they probably got a whole thousands of species of mites, man. Let me not even go down that road. But like, mites are a perfect example of these microscopic bugs because you can't even see them, right? So I purchased a couple of items. It's like a face wash, body wash. You can even use it for your hair. And I also bought a specialized shampoo specifically against mites. And that moved the needle. That helped. It definitely canceled out the 100% killed the creepy crawly feeling, that subtle crawling feeling under my skin, and that feeling of being poked. That was resolved after using the dust mite soap and shampoo. So is it that my skin has been affected from an overpopulation of dust mites that I've been walking around with since I don't know how many years? I don't know. My skin was still bumpy though. It made it hard to put makeup on still, but I kept trying. You know, it was like a makeup covered acne area. It wasn't itchy anymore, but I was still picking though. And by the end of the day, I'd picked off the makeup because I'd be picking at newly formed bumps or some new scabs or something like this. Also, too, these parasites, I reckon they've been around for a long time, and I'm sure God knows all about it, because when he was trying to clean up Sodom and Gomorrah, what did he do? He let it rain down fire and brimstone. And what is brimstone? Brimstone is another word for sulfur. And I've bought sulfur soap. I've bought some sulfur products, and they even have sulfur 8, that shampoo and soap that you can get from the beauty supply store or from the drugstore. So sulfur is supposed to also be something to combat, insects or like a parasitical, infestation kind of a thing. But, these are all subtle remedies and methods, and you just have to really be so deep entrenched in it. I mean, like when we talk about like the green walnut, and wormwood, all those things are cute and they're nice, but parasites on a whole nother bandwidth. Like you gotta take this walk, you gotta take this journey, you gotta get those lessons, you know what I'm saying? And you got to use the products. Do all of them. I'm not saying that any one of them, are wrong, but, I would be careful with the ivermectin and with the fenben, because I'm not really exactly sure, what's really going on there. But I would use the green walnut, and the wormwood, and be consistent with it. But parasites, they're smart, and they're resistant because they want to get down and do their thing. But they need to go find some other place to go do that thing at, is all I'm trying to say. So in conclusion, what has moved the needle for me as far as parasites and my acne? Well, getting started. Like starting this mission. Finally, because I was so lost in the world, I didn't even know what was going on to even like hone in on possible parasitic attack. So I started testing out different products, and the only things that have moved the needle for me was using the ivermectin. It didn't clear it up, but it definitely sent their asses running, because I could feel it. It was like fleas running in slow motion. The soap, the dust mite soap, that definitely moved the needle as well. That itchy, cribbly, crawly feeling stopped. I no longer have that neurological pull to pick at my skin. The hairs are fewer and shorter, and the bumps are also fewer. The skin does look a whole lot smoother than it did, but you can imagine that it is scarred, darkened from all the picking. Yeah, well, this is my journey so far, and knowledge of parasites based on my own personal experiences. If you have any questions or concerns, let me know in the comments section below. I'm signing off, but before I close, let me just say that, we're all going through it. Because, even parasites have parasites. And if you are trying to purge them from your inner body, I would say, first of all, meditate, pray, and give it to God. Then get proactive. Set the intention that they no longer have access to your inner kingdom. They are a part of our ecosystem, but you still have the power to keep them under control. Parasites can not only be in your gut, but in people, places, and things. So take care for yourself, use discernment, and set boundaries. Take care.